children, but at least Reagan gained some credibility from the fact that he saw that the interests of the state, of the United States of America, superseded protecting sources and methods. That's what Obama has to do now. We are very suspicious that since he is unwilling to do that, since he sends his chief of staff before the cameras and says, well, it wouldn't stand up in a court of law, but hey, intelligence is intelligence, you got to trust us. Well, we're not going to trust them this time, so especially when the head of the intelligence establishment is a self-admitted perjurer.
So how come they're still taking this line? I mean, it does, as the days and the weeks go on, it seems that Washington's having a harder time selling the case to the world for intervention. But why is it still carrying on this path, judging by what you've just said?
Well, I have to say that if you look at cui bono, you know, the classic question, who does this profit? The only state, the only country that it profits is Israel. As long as there's an unending, looks like it's going to be a 30 years war in Syria, a Shia against Sunni contest, not only in Syria, but in the whole Middle East area now, then Israel feels that the Sunni and the Shia are not going to be turning their swords or their guns on Israel. It's that simple. Now, John Kerry has amply demonstrated that he's under the influence of Netanyahu. He made believe he was talking about Palestine the last couple of months, but what he's really talking about was Syria, and that shows in his behavior and even his demeanor. So what we have here is a situation where Israel and the tough guys and tough gals now in the White House advising Obama say, well, you got to do something, and the only country that will profit from this is the state of Israel.
Is he changing his tack slightly, though? We heard John Kerry backtracking a little yesterday, saying Obama hasn't made a decision yet on Syria. The US president was much more certain about an attack on Syria a week ago, though, wasn't he? Is he softening his stance? What do you think's happening here?
Well, you know what happened a week ago? It was almost exactly a week ago. Last Friday, Kerry went before the cameras and said, we got to do this, and here's the, not intelligence assessment, mind you, but the government assessment, meaning the White House had a chance to massage it, to edit it, okay? Here's the assessment. It didn't hold up to scrutiny, okay? Now, what happened? Apparently, the military got to the president, and I see some evidence of this. The next thing we know, the president has changed his mind on Saturday afternoon, and the only thing that really intervened was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Martin Dempsey, telling the president, look, you know, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard to explain why we have to do this now. We could do this tomorrow or next week or next month. We don't really have to do it now. And the president said that in justifying his delay.
So playing for time.
Now, what's more evidence? Lindsey Graham and John McCain the next day just took off after the Joint Chiefs of Staff chairman in a very personal and vindictive way, because they know that finally the military leaders went to the president and said, look, you know, we know you're being told that this is going to be easy and limited and all that stuff, but these guys and these gals don't know a thing about war. We do. And we know that it's not going to be so easy. And so if you're going to do this, you better get wide support, because otherwise your presidency is over.
All right, Ray, that's your theory on it. How do you think the congressional vote's going to play out in the upcoming vote? Which way is it going to go? And we've seen which way we think it's going to go. What do you think?
Well, you know, I'm not a domestic political analyst, so my opinion is an informed one, but not much better than anybody else's.
What's the public view then where you are? You know, what's the feeling around you?
Well, around here in Washington, within the Beltway and all the TV shows, you know, we got to do something. We got to protect the president. The odd thing is that this time the Democrats have drunk the Kool-Aid, okay? This time we have to protect the president. He's gone out on a limb here, and they've drunk the Kool-Aid. And I talked to a congressman last night for 5 minutes, and it was very clear that he pledged the House leader, Nancy Pelosi, that he would vote according to what the president says, because we have to protect the president. And are you gonna say that the president is lying? You don't have to say the president is lying. What you do need to say, according to our information, is that the president is being given cooked-up intelligence because John Brennan, the head of the CIA, and James Clapper, the confessed perjurer, have thought it in their interest to cater to the wishes of the White House, which have been very clear. This time, we want to strike Syria.
Right.
It's a terrible situation. It's a political sort of thing now, and we'll have to see how it plays out. I frankly don't know. I have more hope than this time last week that it will be turned down. And then I don't think the president would violate the Constitution and the UN Charter, both by starting a war.
Ray, thanks for your thoughts. Interesting to have you on the programme. Former CIA analyst, as you were, Ray McGovern there on the line from Washington, D.C. Thanks, Ray. So, as the politics rattles backwards and forwards, we've been following the latest developments in Syria itself. There's an ongoing army operation.